What's going on, everybody? Happy Wednesday. It is January 26th. We are live, as always. We go live every Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern. We've been doing this for quite a long time, actually. But specifically, we started this in right around March or April of 2020. And we've just brought on guests who are killing it, crushing it. And it was kind of funny when we started doing that. It was just kind of a question like, hey, do we have enough people that we could actually fill? Like maybe we could bring on a guest once a week or twice a week or something. And then really since then, the community has just really taken off, and we've got lots of cool success stories. So we go live every Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern. If you're new, watching us replay or watching us live, you can actually send a little text message reminder. Or I'm sorry, you can send a text message to us to get a reminder every morning. You would text the letters WUL, stands for Wake Up Legendary, WUL to 813-296-8553. And every single Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern, you're going to get pinged with a little text message. It's just going to give you a link directly into our Facebook stream, so you don't have to go looking for it and finding it every day. You can just jump right in, and it's super easy. It's really convenient. If you're unable, or maybe you got work during this time or something like that, you can also find us on Spotify podcasts. You can find us. You can actually watch on Spotify too. They just started a video feature there, and you can tune in on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, different things like that. So just go to your whatever favorite podcasting you have, and just search Wake Up Legendary. Pretty simple. And yeah, pumped to have a returning guest. As soon as I saw him, I was like, dang, I think I've seen this guy before, but I'm not sure where. But anyway, we're going to bring in a returning guest, Mike Mefford. What's up?
Hey, what's going on? Thanks for having me on again.
Yep. So you were in on the show in October, right?
That's correct.
Okay, so remind everybody where you're from, and maybe it's been a while ago. I feel like I kind of remember a little bit about your story and stuff, but there's a lot of people here who are new and have never met you, heard of you or anything. So you got that awesome little certificate. You got the frame, everything behind you. Tell everybody a little bit about your journey, how you found Legendary, and what your journey's been like up until now.
I live in the Kansas City metro area. I worked in IT for 25 plus years. I thought I had a pretty safe job. Turned out I did not. So in November of 2020, I was informed that my position was being eliminated, that they weren't going to offer my skill set to the company anymore. So that eliminated my job. Luckily, I had until January of 2021. So they gave me like 3 months in there to prepare myself. So I had started looking for another job. I still get my email reminders of jobs that are out there, because I just want it to be a reminder that, hey, I don't want to go back to that 9-to-5 life. So I still leave them in my inbox. I still get them every day. Hey, these are the job postings out there. So yeah, just a little reminder to myself, hey, I don't want to go back to that 9-to-5. So anyways, I had been following a few people on TikTok and different platforms on, this kind of side hustle and stuff. So, I decided to jump in, and, I took the 7-day challenge, and by day 3, I pretty much knew that this was something that interested me. It was totally outside my comfort zone. I had never done a video. I had no social media following whatsoever. So nice. I built from the ground up. So I think on TikTok right now, I'm at 169,000 followers. So
jeez,
I grew 130,000 in like a 3-month period. So that's kind of my story. I lost my job, needed something to pay the bills, so I jumped into doing this.
Very cool. So you've got a pretty solid business that you've now got going, but you were never the business entrepreneurial type. This was totally new.
No, I had never owned a business in my life. I'd never done anything like this. I was a 9-to-5 guy. I got up and went to work every day, So.
And you're also a little bit on Instagram too. How's that done?
It's good. I really just started concentrating on trying to grow it, but yeah, it's definitely starting to take off a little bit. I post a little bit more, and I'm also on, YouTube and Pinterest. I repurpose all my videos on all platforms. So
good. And what he means, for those of you who are newer or kind of wondering what do you mean by repurpose? He's taking content that he's produced and on TikTok, and then downloading that video, removing watermarks, putting it on different social media channels so he can create one piece of content and reuse that on multiple different social media platforms. So he's not endlessly creating videos all day. He can just create a piece of content and repurpose that over and over and over again. So very cool, Mike. Very cool. So in your questionnaire, I was kind of curious. You mentioned something about building a business through DMs. So what I thought would be interesting is if you could talk us through a little bit about like your content creation process, but then also taking, let's say, your followers and turning them into leads, turning them into buying customers. And what's your process been like for that as you've been growing?
Okay. So basically I do content every morning. I use a schedule block. So I set a, hour time period aside, and I do content at that time. It could be, the typical, hey, click on the link in my bio, or it could be, hey, comment and we'll have a conversation. Well, that has turned into a big thing for me, is the DM conversations. I probably started doing this totally wrong. I totally tried to push, hey, click on my link, and it just didn't work very well for me.
Okay.
People just didn't buy in. So I started doing the DM thing, and I could spend all day answering DMs probably right now. So I start that conversation with them. I get to know them, what their pain points are, how can I help them? Is my product even a right fit for them? So that's how my DMing conversations usually go. And then, I send them off to my landing page where I offer a free ebook, and I capture their emails and names so I can have future follow-ups with them. And then I hand it off to Dave at that point. So.
Nice. So you've been, remind me, you might have just said this earlier, but how long ago did you first find our challenge?
I started in March of 2021. Yeah.
Okay, cool. I always think when people make it a year, it's a big milestone. It's like 10 years, and it's like affiliate marketing years are like dog years. It's just like, it's a lot longer than you might expect or you might think.
I'm getting real close.
Yeah. So you also got our blueprints. You've been through a lot of our training, coming from like more of a corporate world or a corporate style world, I guess you might say. What was that like? Was that hard? Because some of the entrepreneurial parts can be a little bit overwhelming for people. What was that like? Was that difficult, or what did you find that easy going through some of the training?
It was me having an IT background, so the software side of it, setting up the funnels and that all wasn't all that difficult for me because I do have an IT background, but it's very beginner friendly. That was the easiest part. And the support community that's out there was awesome. Everything was step by step. You guys laid it out perfect. You didn't really have to go searching around for a whole lot of answers. If you followed the blueprints and your instructions, it worked. So I didn't really struggle with that. The hardest part was the video part. I was not comfortable on camera. I'm still a little shaky at it at times. So
there's like there's a lot of people on here who will say the same. For instance, we'll have a young girl on the show, like early 20s or something, and you'll see a bunch of old guys in here in the chat just like, yeah, but she's cute, she's attractive, it's not fair, I could never go on video, I have a face for radio, all this stuff. And tell us a little bit about how you were able to overcome that because dude, you've been doing this for almost a year now, and to go from that sort of like maybe more introverted or maybe a little bit more shy kind of camera presence to going like, hey, I'm going to go on camera and I'm going to deliver with confidence. That's a big shift internally, I've found. Because I was the same way. I mean, my first videos, I would create one video, my whole shirt would be soaked, my armpits are, dripping with sweat. I'm just disgusting. And I'm like, geez, I don't know how I'm going to make this. But for people who are newer and trying to sort through that and figure that out for themselves, how did you sort of work through that internal world and start creating content? Take us back to, your very first videos on TikTok and what that was like.
I was right there with you. Shirt was soaked. I don't know how many retakes I tried to do to make them perfect. And that's one thing I learned right off the bat is they don't need to be perfect. You're not filming a TV commercial, really. I mean, you're kind of, sort of, but not really. I mean, you don't have to be perfect at what you're doing. I just finally said, screw it. I'm just going for it. And, I started out with, 3 to 5 videos a day. So believe me, that was a lot in the beginning. So, and it does take a while to get comfortable doing it, but you'll overcome. And the more and more you do it, the more and more comfortable you get it. I think I'm at like 600 or 700 TikTok videos now. So,
jeez.
Yeah,
that's crazy. Yeah, it does get. I felt like it does get a little bit easier over time.
Yeah,
and yeah, unless I'm on a meeting where I feel really like on the spot, or I feel like I'm on a meeting with, I don't know, maybe like a celebrity or somebody I'm not super familiar with. I virtually I don't know. I think my armpits are pretty dry right now. Like I'm just like, I'm not, I don't know. You can just kind of show up and boom, you're on video. All right, let's go. Here we go.
You look very comfortable doing it. So
yeah. I mean, it's taken a lot of time, but I think it's interesting to me, at least, how, when you're in those first days, I always like to go back to those very first beginning days. It's interesting in those first days where you conceptualize yourself as a static person who's not capable of change, right? You're always saying things like, yeah, but I don't have charisma, or I'm shy of the camera, or I'm an introvert, or I've got a face for radio, all this stuff. And the perception of that is just that, you know what? I'm not capable of this. Sorry, hang on a second. Jeez. I'm not capable of this, or it could never happen for me, or something like that. But as I think over the years of how much I've shifted as a person, and I've changed internally to be more, not extroverted, it hasn't really changed anything, but like Spencer just said in the comments, turn your weaknesses into strengths, right? So I think what a lot of introverts do in the world of TikTok and Instagram is they have a level of honesty and transparency because it takes so much to get through to people. It takes so much just to even upload a video. People can feel that. Now, I think that for a lot of people, when they speak with sort of that nervousness and that like lack of confidence, they end up not generating a lot of leads and sales. That starts to come later on once they've started to speak with real confidence, right? Because the heart and soul of direct response marketing is that you tell somebody what they need to do with pure confidence. Yeah. And that transference of feeling of me to you or you to all your followers is a really powerful thing. And it's what's required in order for people who are skeptical or hesitant to take action. So what, from going into that place of confidence, did you see a shift in terms of yourself? Was it just in the business area? Did you experience it in relationships? And then how did you experience any change from people and how they responded to you at all, especially with your followers?
So when I started getting like feedback on my posts and stuff, that definitely helped my confidence. Hey, people are buying into what I'm saying. People are commenting. And when you start getting the haters on your post, then you've arrived on TikTok. So you're definitely going to get the haters that come in and oh, this is a scam and all that. I just kind of ignore them and move on. So yeah, but confidence wise, my wife tells me I do find, even my 17-year-old daughter says, "Hey Dad, I can't believe all my friends see you on TikTok and they say you're TikTok famous and stuff like that because of the amount of followers you have." And it's funny because that helps build your confidence. If 17-year-old kids are telling you, "Hey, that's cool that you're on TikTok," that helps. Not that I'm really selling to them, but
yeah, totally. And I think that one thing that I think is really cool, that I love that what I witnessed from my parents was when I was growing up is my dad had a job and still works this job. He's worked this job now for probably close to 40 years, and my mom is a little bit more entrepreneurial. She was working a job, and then she just had trouble finding good daycare and whatever, and so she started her own hair salon in our house, in the front room of our house. Literally, the front door, you walk in, and boom, she set up my dad plumbed out a sink and a chair, and put a couple of hair dryers in there, and poof, she was off and running. And she crushed it. But when I was little, I was in maybe 4th or 5th grade. She forced me to start a paper route in our town of 450 people. And she would get up with me every morning at 5 a.m. We would hop on bikes. We bought baskets for the front of our bikes, put freaking newspapers in there, and we started a paper. I mean, and it's just funny to me how I look back sometimes and I think to myself, I look at somebody like you, or I look at anybody in our community, and I look at them and say, God, so much drive and entrepreneurial creativity and energy and all of this stuff. And man, I feel like some days I don't have that. And then I look back on my last 10 years and all of the ventures I've started and all the ways I've been successful. And even just, kind of in a sense, carved out some form of like role here at Legendary. I mean, with the help of our team and them finding me a role here too, but it's been very non-traditional, like not traditional at all. I don't even think I applied for a job here. I think I messaged Dave and I got hooked up through a friend, right? It was just a weird, but I look back and I think to my mom and I think about what that example did for me. Setting sort of a work ethic thing of like, hey, you might be in 4th, 5th grade, but like, get your ass on this bike. You're waking up at 5 a.m. And I've basically woken up at 5 a.m. and been grinding ever since I got done with college. Even all through college, I worked a job, started entrepreneurial stuff all through college and after, and all of it probably leads back to that. I say that all because, one of the things I think that parents underrate a lot is what the people looking on say, what your friends and family and their friends, seeing somebody who did IT for 25 years and maybe struggled initially with some of the charisma and some of the just, hey, I'm on camera, this is Mike, and it's like, and seeing somebody work through that and grow through that is a really inspirational and really like transformational thing to see. So I think that's really cool. And I just wanted to say that. I say that a lot to parents when their kids are commenting about, geez, you're TikTok famous, all of this stuff. Like, and that really shapes a person. It's really shaped me. And I think it's a really cool testament to you growing through a lot of whatever it is, insecurities and stuff. But that's really cool, Mike.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Yeah. As you've gotten going now, like as you move into the new year, like what's been on your mind in terms of like, are you just continuing to do what you've been doing and what has worked? Do you have plans to expand? I don't know if you have interest in like doing some sort of coaching or what's this year going to look like for you?
I do actually have interest in coaching eventually. I would like to do that. I don't know if I'm to that point right now that I'm ready to start doing that, but I did get myself a coach and mentor. So,
cool.
So it really helps me build that part of my business. It's kind of just started as paper right now. So, I eventually want to do that. But right now I'm continuing with what I'm doing. My plan is working. So, and I didn't grow up with entrepreneur type person in my life. So this, I jumped outside of my company. Everybody I know, lived with, they worked a 9-to-5 job. That was the way you made money. You went to work every day. And that's not the case anymore. You don't have to do that. I lay in bed every morning and start my day answering DMs and emails and stuff in bed. So I don't have to get up and get dressed and go to a job. So
right. Yeah. I wanted to say, one thing that we tell people is, just don't screw it up. I mean, if you got something that's working and you've sort of figured out a formula to make a couple thousand or more online, like, hey, first things first, if you're going to build out something else, just make sure the first part doesn't stop working, That's cool.
Exactly.
And I also like that you've got, you went out, sought out somebody to get some mentorship from. We had this girl who just, I know that she just went over 6 figures in her business and decided to buy our blueprints and hadn't bought them before. She found us 9 months ago or something. And I was like, wow, that's pretty interesting. And actually, we've had now 2 different people that I know who are 6-figure affiliate marketers, whether with us and other companies. I mean, they've got a lot of other streams of income too. But both of them have hit 6 figures with us and purchased the blueprints after the fact. Wow. And I just thought it was interesting because we've now created a culture, that's not really like I'm buying this to sell it because it wouldn't make sense if we had people who are making 6 figures invest. We've created a really powerful training and also a culture of investing in oneself. Yeah. And, that's why, I've paid a lot of money in investing in myself, but I've also paid a lot in time. And what people can't invest in money, you can obviously invest in time. Elon Musk always talks about how, look, there's a certain amount of hours in a week. And if I work 100 hours a week and everybody else is working 30, I'm going to beat them eventually. I'm just going to learn more. I'm going to experience more. It's just a formula. Not that I'm a big advocate of working 100-hour weeks, but I do think that sometimes when people have sort of, made it, one of the things that always pissed me off was when people made it and they're like, oh yeah, just 30 minutes, 20 minutes here and there, like just whatever. And I'm like, if you're hungry and you're really, really hungry and ready to go after it, like you should get in there and use every bit of energy that you've got, especially if it's making you happy and fueling you. I see all these posts on Twitter and on Instagram about, mental health and it's not always just about grinding. And I'm like, totally for you, but don't tell me that. Like, I'm hungry and I'm having fun. And you've got habits that you do, or you've got hobbies that you do. Maybe you go golfing, maybe you go hiking, whatever. My hobby is just trying to make more money and free myself financially. And I love that. And it's fun. Yep. And so I just, for our community, do what's right for you. Do what's right for your energy levels. I've been in and out of a flow for the last 10 years, where the first 5 years I could wake up, I could go on 4 hours of sleep. I was so just jacked and pumped up on energy. I need 8 to 9 now. Like, yep. I gotta have 8 hours or I'm dead. I can't even function. I'm like, I hit 1 p.m. and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm in such a brain fog, I don't know where I was going with that rant, but I
get your, if you're not grinding, because I feel if you're not working on your business every day, you don't want it bad enough. That's my philosophy. If you're not working on it, then you don't want it bad enough. So I'm down here every day. I work every day on this. So
I love it. Yeah, I think that that's true. And especially in the early days,
Yep.
especially when you're first getting started. And it's like, there's this, some people don't believe in momentum, but there is a little bit that can happen with these with an online business or with a following, like building a following, building a list, starting to get sales. When you first start, there's a little bit of momentum that you've got to create. It's a big boulder that's sitting there and it's not moving, and you've got to put in extra effort versus a couple, let's say a couple years down the road, you might not need to put in quite as much effort. You need to put in effort, but like it's already moving. There's a little bit of the ball is rolling. And so in the early days, that takes a lot of effort. And every single day, you got to be showing up. You got to be grinding. You got to be pushing. And eventually that ball, and that takes, look, some people it's a week. Some people it's 5 months. Yeah. Sometimes it's, I've seen people go to 6 figures in 90 days. It's not all that common. It's not the norm, but yeah, it's definitely happened.
Yeah.
And I've watched it happen. But for most people, that's usually not the case. For most people, it's like, it's a little bit slower. And David, he just said something here. He said, treat it like a job. Yeah. Well, at our masterminds, what Dave says is, he says, if you were the chief marketing officer, if you were the chief executive officer, or let's just call it if you were the marketing manager for your own business or for the business of somebody else, would you hire yourself? Like, would you hire yourself for this job based on how you're showing up on a day-to-day basis? Because sometimes as an entrepreneur, it's like, I don't have any category to understand what I'm doing. What am I doing here? I don't know. I'm just creating content. Well, no, you're the marketing manager of your business. And as a CEO, you sit down and look at yourself and say, well, Mike, your performance here, you're not showing up every day. Where you been? What's going on, man? And then you're like, oh, damn, you're right. Like, I mean, if this was a job, I'd have a job description. I know what I need to do every day. I know I have a checklist of stuff I need to complete every day. And then you do a little, mirror therapy, and you give yourself a good hard look in the mirror and say, well, geez, I guess, yeah, I don't deserve a raise this year. I'm not sure I do. I don't know if I deserve to get a promotion, all that stuff. It's a powerful question.
There's definitely ups and downs during the beginning too. I mean, it's not all up, up, up. Sometimes you're going to have it down, and, that's the point where you don't give up. You dig a little harder so you can get back to that, steady stream of followers or commissions or whatever it may be. So,
yeah, totally. 100%. So for people who are here, a lot of people who are new, a lot of people who are just discovering Legendary, and really just think beyond even Legendary. They're literally just discovering, like, hey, there's ordinary people out there who are making money on the internet. Like, there's this massive pool of money on the internet, and there's people who are just normal freaking IT guys and freaking, nannies and like restaurant workers and grocery store clerks that are just taking a little knife and just carving out a tiny slice of that pie and saying, you know what? If all these people have a little slice of the pie, I'm just going to pull it out. I'm going to grab my own slice. Let me come up to the table and cut my own slice. What would you say to those people to sort of give them a little bit of inspiration, a little bit of your take on making money on the internet?
Normal people can do this. You don't have to be some entrepreneur. Like I said, I didn't have that. It all comes down to being, if you want it bad enough, you're going to go get it. Be consistent with what you're doing. You don't have to quit your 9-to-5 job and to start this. You can start this as a side thing and, build it on the side. And then when you reach that point that, you're consistently making that income to replace your 9-to-5, then you think about quitting your job. I was forced into, not having a 9-to-5. So But yeah, you have to
Right.
believe in yourself, and you don't have to be an entrepreneur to do this. So,
Ooh, I like that a lot.
yeah.
Quote, you don't have to be an entrepreneur to do this. That's really powerful. I think, yeah, most of the people that I meet who come into this aren't your typical entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
It's a very mixed bag.
And I
Super
do try
cool.
to sell that a lot on my DM conversations. You don't have to, have an experience to do this. I had zero followers. So
I just man, there's this funny I found this site where you can sort, and we'll leave our audience with this. I found a site where you can sort tweets backwards. So it's like the tool sort for TikTok. Are you familiar with that? Yeah.
I am. Yep.
Something goes backwards in time, so you can see people's first tweets without having to scroll, right? And actually it might just be on the Twitter site you can do that, but you go back and you look, and on somebody like Gary V, right? And Gary V has, I don't know, what does he have, Gary
Crazy
V
numbers.
Twitter. Gary V's got let's see. Share my screen. I'm going to actually show people. Here we go. Chrome tab, Gary Vaynerchuk. Okay. You guys should be able to see this now.
Yep.
He has 2.9 followers. He's kind of a social media guru dude. And if you see, I just don't know how to do this whole sorting thing, but somehow, maybe in the settings or something, I'm not going to do it right now, but you can sort for TikTok, or you can sort, and you go back and you look at the first couple of months and even the first year of his Twitter account. It's crickets. He's just sitting there posting, typing about wine, all this different stuff. And then you start to see a little bit of traction. He gets a couple likes, he gets a couple comments, and he puts out this mass amount of content until one day, he comments on, maybe it was Wine Collector or something, and he gets 40 comments on his, right? And people are like, whoa, this is a hot take. This is interesting. And then they start following, and then he's like, oh, I discovered something here. Right. And there's this big buildup of discoveries, and I'm posting content. Doesn't seem to be working. Let me change up. Let me try something new. And then boom, you hit it, and something goes viral or something gets really picked up on. But there's always, my point in that, sorry, this is a little belabored of a point, but my point is there's always a day zero for everybody, for Dave, for you, for me, for Gary Vaynerchuk. For everybody who's sitting, watching the comments, who's listening, whether they're live, replay, whatever, there's always the day zero. And people always forget this because they but, oh, I don't have a following. Oh, I've never made money online before. Oh, guess what? Everybody has that day. Literally, it's by definition. We're all human. Every single person has that day. So I hope that that's a word of encouragement to everybody who's here. Because, whether you're getting laid off from your job or whether you're quitting your job or whatever, just as a reminder, there's always that day zero where you don't have an option. You got to figure it out. That's it. That's the only option.
Yep.
You have to figure it out. So Mike, thanks, man. Is the best way for people to find you on TikTok, Mike Mefford 6?
That's me. Yep. That's the best place to find me.
All right, I'm going to throw up your handle. It is now on the screen. It's Mike Mefford 6, MikeMeFFord 6, the number. And Mike, thanks for coming on, man. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Good to see you again.
I really appreciate it.
Yeah, let's touch base again, maybe in 3 or 4 months, and see what's new.
That works for me.
Cool, man. See ya.
Have a good day.
See ya. All right, guys. Hey, what I want you to do is go give Mike a follow. He's a good dude, and he's a good follow because of his journey and his sort of discovering himself as a content creator and as a marketer and as a business owner. And for a lot of us who come from a background of, I don't really own a business, I'm not a business owner, it's just a good way to get an inspirational boost every day to see somebody creating content and to look back and know, that guy's day zero was about a year ago or less. And it's really powerful. It's very inspirational because, the more people that you follow who are in your niche or who started out kind of in the place that you did, you'll begin to pick up on stories and you'll begin to see yourself in their stories, and it'll help boost your confidence. It'll help get you going. So, but give him a follow and support Mike. Post on his comment, comment on his post, and let him know what was good from today. Let him know what was impactful, and let him know that you saw him on Wake Up Legendary. We'll be back here tomorrow. Dave will be back here Thursday and Friday hosting. I was covering on Tuesday, and then I typically host on Wednesdays. He'll be back here Thursday, Friday. We'll be back with guests and great stories for Thursday and Friday. Peace out, everybody. Have a good rest of your Wednesday. We'll see you back here.